how does time management look like? How do I manage my time? So for me, I would say my time management at the moment is in progress. For some people, it's chaotic. Some people it's structured. Some people it's um, disorganized. They could use a lot of words. That is how it is. So I would want us to engage. It's not going to be a one-way communication that I'll do all the talking. To be honest with you, get ready to talk because you're going to talk in this presentation. So I want somebody to open the mic and speak up as a techie, as a professional. How can you management approach in just one word so that I can take 2 or 3 people and then okay, I need to switch screen so that I can see who is raising up. Just raise up your hand or just open your mic and speak. Okay, I can't see any hands up. I want to volunteer so that we can go on with the presentation. No volunteer. Can I call somebody's name? Do you permit me to call somebody's name? Oh, good. I've seen the comment. Mr. Alolade said, Mr. Lincoln said, chaotic. Yes, that's one possibility. Who else again has something to say? Just okay. If you don't want to talk, you can drop a chat, drop a message. I'll read the message. Okay. All right. I'll move on. Well, it's important that we. Okay, good. Maybe you didn't challenging. Thank you, Badmos Miriam. The question is, as a tech professional is on the screen, how can you describe your approach to time management in one single word? So that's the question. So I've got some responses. I'll just move on. Oh, that's very funny, Olivia. You don't know where that even goes. We understand that it could be challenging to manage our time, and that's why we're here today. So we've been able to see that time management is important. It could grow from being chaotic to being in progress to being structured and the likes. So that's just so to put that into perspective, it is important that we're not just hardworking, but we are working smartly. So that's where time management comes in. And then time management is all about planning, organizing, and controlling your time to achieve maximum productivity and efficiency. That is what it's all about. How do you put your time together to achieve the best possible outcome with the least possible amount in the least possible amount of time? So this involves organizing yourself, setting goals, prioritizing your task, and being strategic was the way you work. So that's what time management is all about. Now, why is it important to look at time management? It is very key because if you manage your time very well, your productivity apparently is going to drastically improve. You'll be more productive, you're more structured, the more organized you are with your time, you can do a lot of things, and then it will help you reduce stress. Many people here know what work-life balance is all about. You are probably some people are students. You have to balance school work with career development and with family life and stuff like that. Some people are married people, balance your wife, children with other things, with your tech role or your current job. So that balance is very, very important. So a critical skill as a product manager or as a product designer, there will be a lot of things that will be coming your way in your roles. For those that we starting these roles after the internship, you'll be getting those positions. So there's this important need to make a balance, and that is where these principles and techniques comes in. And if you can put all these things together, you have more time to concentrate on what is the most important, what matters the most. Now we'll look at another activity. This time I want you to speak. This is an engaging class. This is we have to communicate. We are professionals, and I know that in our jobs we do meetings, we talk a lot. So I know that you guys are experts in your own fields. I want to learn from you. I want to share your perspectives. Open your mic and let's talk about some pitfalls of time management. Let's rub minds together. Yeah. Open your mic and speak, please. I will call names. I won't volunteer. I don't want to call names, but just volunteer now. I can have it and move on. All right. I can't see any hands up. Can I call Zil Gabriels? What are the pitfall? Mention one pitfall of time management, please.
Um, Good evening. My name is Miracle. I want to quickly answer this one. I think one of the pitfall of time management, I think, is just bad scheduling. That is when your tasks are not properly arranged. Thank you.
Thanks so much for that. That's very valid. I see Ajiboye Taiwo's hand up. Can you just unmute and speak? You have the floor. Ajiboye Taiwo, please go on and speak. You have the floor.
Yeah, good evening. All right. One of the problems of time management, I can say, is multitasking. That is, when there are a lot of activities to cover at the same time. So I think it can be as one of the problems of time management.
That is very valid. To be honest with you, many people think that multitasking is a very great thing, but sometimes if you are not, we'll go to that very soon. But if you're not doing it well, it's gonna waste your time. I'll take one more so that we can move on. I'll take Daniela if you don't mind.
Okay, good evening, sir. So
Nick,
of time management is one pitfall of time management is procrastination.
Thanks for that. They say procrastination is a thief of time. So we'll move on. So we have a very good. Everybody is correct. We have a good foundation of all these things. Not prioritizing, procrastination, distraction, and all these things are what takes away our time. So if you don't plan, that means no direction. If you don't prioritize things, your friend comes, you go with everything, you procrastinate, you are distracted, you multitask, you do things in a low quality way, or you don't take any break, you burn out. These things will make you unproductive. Now, I want to look at what are the common time management tips. It's a learning session. It's a learning session and it's interactive. So we're back to the conversation again. What are some common time management tips you use? I didn't give you a chance to speak the other time. Okay, good. Miriam, you have the floor, Miriam. Badmos, Miriam, you have the floor.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good
One
evening.
of the managing time is using. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, I can hear you. Good
Good
evening. Go
evening.
on.
Can you hear me, please?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go
One of
on.
the tip is using prioritization matrix. One of the tip is using prioritization matrix, where you classify
Nice.
your tasks into urgency and importance.
Very, 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 very good. Very valid. We'll go into that. It's a part of the training today. Yeah. Sylvia.
Okay, that was what I wanted to say. That prioritizing is using the urgency and how important it is. I would also add that delegating to when necessary to helps in managing time. Thank you.
Thanks for that. James.
Okay, good evening, everyone. So another tip I think is setting deadlines for yourself, because if you don't set deadline for yourself, you just keep procrastinating and procrastinating, and last you won't do
All right. Thanks
anything.
for that. I'll take the last one so that I can move on. Daniela.
Okay, sir. So one common tip is setting time limits and creating a to-do list.
Very, very valid. Thanks for all the contributions. They are very, very valid. So, what we said are very true. I'll just run through this quick YouTube video. It summarizes all what you've said, to be honest.
Do you always feel short of time? Are you constantly pressured to meet deadlines, whether it's at work or at home? If so, you're in need of some essential time management tips. During this video, we will uncover 10 top tips to help you get on top of your tasks and more in charge of your time. Here's how to work smarter, not harder. 1. Declutter your workspace. The first step to time management success is having an organized workspace. If you work in a frantic way, you're bound to waste time searching for papers or files. So, to boost productivity, start by decluttering your workspace and only keep any vital items around you. 2. Create to-do list. A good to-do list will help you stay on track rather than swaying to and from tasks, and it will also give you a great sense of achievement when you've managed to tick off a large chunk at the end of the day. The best way to create your list is to analyze your tasks towards the end of your shift and prepare for the following day. That way, you won't waste time in the morning when you're most productive on something minor like a list. 3. Prioritize. Now you have your list of duties, you'll need to rank them in order of priority. The way you do this is up to you. You could use a numerical ranking system, highlights, or mental notes. What's important here is to understand which is the most urgent job and get that out of the way first. 4. Set achievable goals. A great way to stay motivated is to set achievable goals. If you have 20 difficult tasks, it's apparent that you won't achieve them all in one day. Therefore, be realistic when prioritizing and creating your list, so that you don't get disappointed when 5 p.m. rolls around. 5. Use organization apps. If you're tech-friendly, an organization app is what you need in your life. You could use a project management tool like Trello to keep your tasks visible and your workflow clear. On the other hand, if you want a simple checklist, Todoist is your perfect match. 6. Don't multitask. Many people assume that multitasking is a great skill to have, but if you're not able to work fluidly, you'll end up bouncing from tasks and wasting time in between. This can also lead to careless mistakes and forgetfulness. 7. Reward yourself. When you finished a big task, why not reward yourself with a treat? This could vary depending on your interests. You might want to order a coffee, a cake, or have a catch-up with your favorite coworker. Just don't overdo it and have 10 cups of coffee a day. That won't help anyone. 8. Stay off social media. Unless you work in marketing, limit your time on social platforms when you're trying to get jobs done. If you really can't resist looking at every notification, put your phone on flight mode or download a social media blocking app. 9. Audit your time. Once you've spent a week following your new plan, audit your time and see how productive you've been. You may see that you can spend less time on certain tasks and adjust your plan accordingly. 10. Take frequent breaks. Taking frequent breaks is crucial when trying to keep productivity levels up. Otherwise, your energy levels will drop and you will end up swaying from your work. Many competing theories suggest specific time frames. However, you should figure out how long you can stay focused for, and then take a 15 to 30-minute break in between. Developing these skills won't happen overnight, but by following these tips, you'll enjoy a much more efficient work life. If you're looking for more productivity hacks, visit CareerAddict.com for more advice. And don't forget to like the video and click on the subscribe button to get more insightful tips.
Yeah, thanks for I believe we learned one or two things from that video. We've said a lot of the tips already, but I believe we've added a few of it. We can always go back and watch that video if you need to remind yourself of any of the tips. So we're moving on with the presentation. Just one sec. So now we're moving into some techniques that can help us with time management. So we have a number of them. We have Pomodoro technique. We have Pareto principle. We have 2-minute principle, batching and multitasking. So we'll go over them one after the other. So Pomodoro technique is a technique used in time management. We've seen the tips. So now we are moving from tips to specific techniques. So now the first one is Pomodoro. That word itself is from the word tomato in Italia. Pomodoro, that's what tomato is called in Italia. So it's just a technique we can use to manage our time. So what, in summary, in simple language, what does it mean? It means that you identify the tasks you want to do, and you break the task. Once you identify the task you want to do, you make a list of the tasks, and then you can pick them up in like 25 minutes. You concentrate, you focus on the task for 25 minutes, then you take like 5 minutes break, and you repeat the cycle. It's no more than that. That's just a summary of what this technique is all about. I've expressed it in a very simple way so that we can get it. So that is what it's about. The goal is to improve our focus and make us more productive. So normally, if you work for a long time, you get easily distracted, you get tired. But with this technique, you can concentrate for 25 minutes. You work, then you take a 5 minutes break, then you repeat that. Then the more you do that, the cycle, you can give yourself more space, more break to rest properly. So that's what it's all about. So now, pretty much summarized in the steps in what I've just said. So you identify the tasks you want to complete, set your timer for 25 minutes, then you work so that there are no distractions. If you like, you could use an alarm to remind yourself of the breaks, but I don't think it's compulsory. Then you just repeat the process. So it's a very nice technique that you all try to use and see. The key thing is just see what works for you. So this is one. We'll go over other one as well. Now, this technique, how do you apply it as techies? You can need to concentrate on you're working on, let's say, on the part of your design. If you look, let's say it's login. As a product designer, you're working on login. You can just do that for 25 minutes. Take a 5-minute break. Move to the next frame. You take a 5-minute break to the next frame. So that way, you're not just overwhelmed by working in a row. That's how that technique applies to us as techies. So move on to the next technique. So we're still on Pomodoro techniques. It's just a presentation to show what it's all about.
Does your student struggle to effectively use study time? Do they sit down to work on an assignment but get overwhelmed by everything that has to get done? When they do sit down to start a task, are they constantly pulled in different directions and struggle to finish the specific assignment? Is your student a big fan of tomatoes? Well, then I have a method for you. The Pomodoro method is a simple but effective strategy to help you stay focused. Developed in the 1980s and themed around the tomato-shaped kitchen timers of the time, the strategy of the Pomodoro method is simple. Step 1, write out your goals. Step 2, pick a task and set a 25-minute timer. Step 3, work towards your goals until the timer rings. This is called a Pomodoro. Step 4, take a 5-minute break. Step 5, repeat. And then step 6, every 4 Pomodoros, take a longer break. Let's dive into each step. Step 1, write out your goals. The Pomodoro method is applicable for all types of work. So in this stage, just take some time, 5 minutes or less, to break up everything you would like to accomplish in this session. During this phase, we want to break down bigger tasks into smaller ones. Some people like to break everything down into concrete steps, and some people like larger objectives. It really just depends on people's preference and love or fear of checkboxes. Do whatever makes you comfortable. Step 2, pick a task and set a 25-minute timer. Which task you pick will again depend on your preferences. Some people like to get the hardest task out of the way first, while others prefer to warm up. There are no right or wrong answers here. If you have a list of tasks that will take less than 25 minutes to complete, group them into one Pomodoro. If you finish early in your Pomodoro, move on to the next task, or you can use this time to do a deep dive into the task you just completed. The timer you pick is also important. I find myself most productive when I use a physical timer and not the timer on my phone. I especially recommend visual timers. This way, you can get a sense of what time is remaining without having to read numbers. If you're going to use your phone, I would recommend using an app specifically set up for Pomodoro method. That way, you'll be less likely to get pulled into other applications and ruin your break. Step 3, work towards your goal until the timer rings. This can feel like the hard part, but it's only 25 minutes. You can do it. During this time, you should be free of distractions. You are only working on this one task, so put the phone away, snooze your inbox, and just work on your goal. Remember, sustained focus can be difficult, so don't beat yourself up if you get distracted. Just notice that it happened and return to your task. Step 4, take a 5-minute break. You did it, and now you get your reward. Set your timer to 5 minutes and dive into something that recharges you or brings you joy. My favorite breaks include enjoying a cup of coffee, a brisk walk up and down the hallway, a dance break, and petting my dog. If possible, I would avoid your phone here. Yes, scrolling can feel relaxing in the moment, but it might be stealing your dopamine. We need that. Step 5, repeat. When your break timer goes off, it's time to get back to work. But remember, it's only 25 minutes. You've got this. Step 6, every 4 Pomodoros, take a longer break. If after 4 Pomodoros there is still more work to do, take a longer break to rest and recharge. I recommend 25 to 30 minutes here. And that's it. That's the Pomodoro method. Now let's talk about some Pomodoro pro tips. Our first tip is to plan ahead. If it's not too intimidating or difficult, it can be helpful to plan how many Pomodoros you will complete. That way you can check them off as you go. Perhaps you could even have a fun tomato-themed meta checklist. Can you tell that I love checkboxes? The next pro tip is to observe and record. Integrating a new technique is a learning process. As you give this a try, it's important to observe your thoughts and feelings. Was it difficult to focus for the 25 minutes? Maybe you're a 15-minute Pomodoro person. Did you accidentally let yourself get sucked into an app and go way over your break time? That's totally understandable. Write it down so that you can remember to not use that app during your 5-minute breaks. You may also learn a few things about yourself as you start to integrate this technique. For example, I'm constantly optimistic about what I'll be able to accomplish in 25 minutes, but by writing down what I actually accomplish, I've been able to improve my estimation skills. Remember, the goal of this method is to support you. Don't be afraid to make adjustments. Pro tip 3 is to communicate. If you let those around you know that you're planning to stay focused for this concrete amount of time, they're way less likely to interrupt you. 25 minutes is a pretty good sweet spot where most things can wait until your break. This is especially helpful for students and their families. No student wants to be asked, "Why are you out here? Shouldn't you be studying?" By setting up a clear schedule and strategy, parents can feel confident students are getting work done, and students can feel empowered to take those breaks. My final tip is to remain flexible. Unavoidable distractions are bound to come up. If that does happen, no worries. Take your break, then refocus for your next Pomodoro when you're able. I like to write down these types of distractions so I can look for patterns and set myself up for success in future Pomodoros. Well, that's all for me today. I hope you've enjoyed this introduction to the Pomodoro method. Remember, not all heroes wear capes. Some just use tomato-shaped timers. Enjoy, team.
I believe you learned a few things from that. That was a practical explanation of the Pomodoro technique. So now, how do we? Okay, we've seen that. How do we apply that? As I think I've talked about this already. I use the designer to talk about it, but I want to speak now. Let's reflect quickly again. I'll open the let's chat. As a front end developer or as product manager or as data analyst, whatever role you are, how do you think you can keep distractions away from yourselves, like mails and Slack, based on these few things we talk about? Please feel free to open your chat and let's talk. Who is speaking first? Maybe you don't understand. What this is saying is that how can you avoid distractions based on at least you've learned one technique now, and then how can you apply that to avoid distractions? Okay, yes, please.
I think for me, the best way I do avoid distraction is by putting my phone on silent mode. So once I put my phone on silent mode, my even my laptop, put it on silent mode, no notification, no message coming in, then I start working. because I'm a kind of person that if one message coming like this, I want to reply or answer the person. So that is where I keep distractions at times. Then I stay clear of people around me. I stay in a room whereby I'm just only one there.
Thanks for that. Very useful. Yes, sweetie, Iwuna, yeah, you have the floor. Yeah, you have the floor. Go on. Sweetie, you have the floor.
Okay, good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
For me, what works the best for me is I stay in a secluded environment like my study room where there is no noise. So it helps me stay out of distractions and all. That's what works for me.
That's another useful tip. Yeah, my miracle. Oh, I see. So there's a chat message coming in. Mr. Lincoln says he uses DND sign, do not disturb sign. So that's very useful. That's very useful. Use that when we have meetings, do not disturb, and then people can leave you alone. You have exams to write or something like that. You put do not disturb, and people can let you go and let you have your peace. Yeah, Mr. Francis, or who is, I don't know if it's a man or a woman. You have the floor so that we can continue.
Good evening, everyone. So
Good
for
evening.
me, what I do at my place of work is that I set a personal target, and I set a time to achieve those targets. Maybe like there are some things I have to have done before 12 o'clock, and then before I go for break, then come back and continue. Then before the close of business, there are some things I already have in my mind, a target I have. Okay, I want to achieve this before close of business. So I think that will help as well. Thank you.
Thanks so much for that again. So we all do these things. As we are using this, we can we can learn from ourselves. Some of those things you already do, some you don't do them. So the ones that you don't do that you feel that useful to you, you can apply them. So move on. Now, second principle is the second technique is the Pareto principle. So it's also known as the 80-20 principle. What's the summary of this 80-20 principle? It's just all about the fact that um, you get 80% of your results or your outcome based on the 20% of your input. It implies that focusing on the most important thing will give you the best possible outcome. That's just a summary of this principle. So you put 20% in, you put it 100% in, but on the most important aspect, 20% will get you the best possible outcome. So that's what the Pareto principle is all about. So small portion of effort can produce majority of your results, and it applies to every area of life. In your business, like some customers, we have just 20% of them can give you 80% of your revenue. As a techie, your MVP can just like 20% of the old features, but that can give you what you need to go to the market and deliver your product. As a designer, 20% of your first design was what they will use to start the work, and then everything, all that thing will start to fall in. So that is what it's all about. So it's all about identifying the most important things and focusing on them. And in this internship, this is a principle, this is a technique you need to use. What is the most important thing that will drive outcome and drive results? You spend your energy on that, and you get the results you want. So that's the Pareto principle. So in let's say you're a developer, so 20% of the bugs may be causing most of the crashes, 80% of the crashes. So if you as a developer spend your time to fix those 20% of the bugs, your customers will be satisfied, your product manager will be happy, the bosses will be happy, and you get more revenue to your company. I've talked about the other one too. So that is what the Pareto principle is all about. I think it's a principle that's very, very useful to have it in mind to help us know what to concentrate our energies on. So let's I just go on. I don't want to. I wanted to say let's chat again, but I'll just explain it. Now, as a PM, how do you apply it? I think I've said that already. You focus on the most important things in your as a PM features. The one that will give you your MVP go to market, you do those ones first, then the remaining features can come up afterwards. As a developer, you do the same. So that's how to apply the 80-20 principle. Yes. Activity time again. So we've been doing well. I must if you're still with me, I want to see your emojis, please. If you're still with me, if you're enjoying the class, you've learned a few things. Let me see your emojis. If you are sleeping, let me see your emoji. If you are sleeping on the class, let me see your emoji. All right. Thanks so much. Just to get your attention that we are together. No one can sleep on my class. Sometimes when you go to church and they say, if you are sleeping, say amen. And somebody says amen, and then we've seen that happen before. So what are we looking at on the screen? So that's the question. I want us to say something about this. What are we looking at? Just open your mic and say something. What can you see?
The multitasking hand.
What did you say?
The multitasking hand.
Yeah, perfect. Multitasking. So this guy is doing so many things, sending emails, doing every other thing. So that is what it's all about. Okay, multitasking. Perfect. Thanks for that. So we'll move on. Now, the next principle we've looked at Pomodoro technique, we've looked at Pareto 80-20 principle. The next one is batching and multitasking. So batching is just like you look for similar tasks, you put them, you do it at the same time. Tasks that are similar, that are related, you do it at the same time. So these tasks usually require your concentration. So that's what multitasking is all about. You batch, you segment tasks that are related. In our local languages, you say what resemble themselves is what you use to compare themselves. So these things are related. You put them together and you run them together. It's very easy to like. You could be coding and then write your code and then probably review a code. Those things are related. You can if you finish writing the code, then you can review the code. So it's related. So you could have other things like you can having your designs and then having the design talking to your pro manager as you are reviewing the design. Two things can go together. He's correcting you. He's correcting the designs. You are on the designs, fixing making the corrections, and he's saying it. You're having a meeting. You are doing two things: a meeting and fixing the getting an input. So that is possible. That's batching. So on the other hand, multitasking is just like doing things that doesn't require much of your attention. Like you are cooking and you're listening to music. That is multitasking. You are relaxing and listening to music. That's multitasking. You are eating and you are using your laptop. That is multitasking. So we've been told that multitasking, if you don't find a way of doing it, it will be a problem. Before now, we believe that multitasking is a very good thing. And when I finished university in the days, we used to believe that multitasking is a great skill if you have multitasking. But apparently now, if you're not doing it well, it will be a problem. So multitasking is good if it's just simple things that you can do, but not like you're not going to be writing a PRD and at the same time having a meeting. It will not definitely work because it cannot go together, except if the meeting is about reviewing the PRD. So that is that about multitasking. So multitasking is good, but it should be used for things that doesn't require much of your concentration. So that is what multitasking is all about. So batching is focused on work similar tasks. Multitasking, you can handle very kind of tasks simultaneously. So the overall point is that batching is what we encourage you to do. Find similar tasks that can go together and run them together. So that is what batching and multitasking is all about. Let's look at some examples at this time. So in the morning, you are ideating and you are sketching as the ideas are coming to your mind, you are sketching it. That's a perfect example. Then in the afternoon, you're having your high fidelity design and you're prototyping. That goes on well. They are related. Then and stuff like that. I don't want to take much of our time again. So these are examples of how we can multitask. Move to the next principle, which is the 2-minute principle. It's very straightforward and simple. From the name of the principle technique, 2 minutes. It simply means that any task that you can complete in 2 minutes, there's no point to reserve those tasks and start to belabor the task and hey, I have this task, I have this task. Before the WhatsApp message, it wouldn't take you more than 2 seconds. So just do it. Sometimes to send an email, to start an email, maybe you can forward an email. So what you can do in 2 minutes? There's no need to do that thing on your to-do list. It will clutter your mind and will make you overwhelmed and busy. And sometimes you procrastinate, and that will be a problem. So anything you can do in 2 minutes, just do it and let it go. So that's what this principle is all about. How do you apply it? Like a VA needs to deliver an email. Just send the email. There's no need to wait and make that pile up. If it's just to take a photo of someone, of a product, just take a photo of the product and print it to make a document. It's Control P. That's all you need to do, and that document is out. So that is what the 2 minute principle is all about. It's a very good technique we can use. Instead of having a long list, you do the simple ones off, then you have a shorter list to concentrate your energy on. Now, reflection time. So looking at the productivity techniques, which one of the techniques do you think applies to your professional skill? So we'll share this on our Google team. So this one, I want this one to go on your Google Teams. We'll go through some techniques now, time techniques, productivity approaches, and stuff like that. So as an individual, as a data analyst, as a product manager, as a project manager, as a VA, whatever your tech skill is, which one applies to you? I want to see our comments. I want to see let us share in our Google class. We have the link in this invite. What you use to come into this meeting, the link is there. Go there and drop your comments. I want to read your what you're having in mind. So that's our reflection. I want to hear from you. So that's the reflection. I'll go on to the next last few slides. So this is time management. What are the tips? Goal setting is not new. If you don't have goals, then it is very, very bad. So how do we set goals? We make it specific, we make it measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. Specific, I wouldn't go into detail because of the time, but you've heard of these things before, to be honest, and I believe so. But if you go over this, if you need more details on this, you can get a couple of videos on YouTube that can break down what that means. But as techies, don't you have goals? You have KPIs, you have goals that work towards. So that in this quarter, we are delivering these features and these features. In this quarter, we are delivering these sales. In this, we are delivering this. That's your goal. So in quarter one, let's even give an example. In quarter one, we will deliver the MVP before first Q1 2025. Is specific, is measurable, is attainable, and is relevant. So that's how it works. There's a time factor there. There's a relevant factor there. Something. No, I will build a stadium in Q1. That one is not attainable. Or I will save the whole world in Q5. It cannot save the whole world. Apparently, it's not measurable. It's too vague. So our goals should be like specific and measurable. So that's just all about. I wouldn't go into more details on that. Now we'll move to the next slide, which is managing distractions. To maintain productivity, we need to create environment that minimizes interruption. This might involve turning off our phones. We talked about this already. Avoiding social media, closing our tabs. I will dwell a bit on this, and many of us are guilty, including myself talking. As long as you have all tabs on your device, you have one UEFA League, and then you have one YouTube, and you have one Spotify. You know how it works. TikTok is there to take your attention. You go on TikTok, and then you spend 2 minutes, 5 minutes on TikTok, 10 minutes on TikTok. This girl's video is beautiful. You click, and then 20 minutes of your time is gone. So these are distractions. While we enjoy those things, when you have work to do, it's your work time. You have your targets, you have your goals. You concentrate, you shut off those things, and you get your job done. And it's very, very important as techie that we work like this. Small changes can lead to big improvements in our concentration. I want to give them for time, just so that we can have time to chat more and have time for question and answer. So what tools can you use? We can have some digital tools. Of course, you know that digital tools are like software, apps, and the likes that can help us organize ourselves. Those are digital tools. So you have other apps like that can help you schedule events. You have Calendarly, Google Calendar, and so on. You can have the list. I'm very sure. So this thing can help us organize our time. So we can have a to-do list as an app. So this is a very good app we can all download on our phones and use to organize our time and track progress of how things are going. You have note-taking app. In this meeting, I think there's an AI app taking notes in this meeting. We have a number of them. You can mention them already because some of these things we use them in our offices. So this will make time management easy. The time you used to listen to the video and write out the minutes of that video, AI will do that for you, and then you just summarize and look whether what the AI is saying is correct or not. You pick the main point of the AI and stuff like that. So it's very useful. We have project management tools, of course. On the picture is Trello. They have other ones, Jira, ClickUp, loads of them. They will help you organize your project, your time, your collaborations. It is very, very useful. They are very, very useful. I'll move on from this point to the physical tools. And for this one, we have our day-to-day notebook. It's still the old faithful notebook is there. You can write January 21, 2025. I will do this. It's still there. You can use it. You can use sticky notes on your board in your office, sticky notes in your room. It's very useful. You can do all that. It's very effective. It has always been effective and will always remain effective, depending on how you want to operate. Your whiteboards are there, and then of course a timer and so on. This will help you and I organize ourselves. And as you go on in this internship, try to put in these things together and see, you see that your productivity will greatly increase. You will achieve more. Because many techies come into this internship and they complain, I'm busy, I'm that. And that's why the management has thought it very important to put up all these things together so that we can all see that we can a better way to do these things to balance between work, internship, and other things. If you put all these principles together and use them, you all use these tools will achieve more results. Your goal for the internship will be achieved. You will get a lot of skills, and then other things in your life will still progress. So that is very, very important. Then at your own time, you can look at these resources. They are very, very useful. I've gone through them myself to teach you more about these things. Asana is a very good resource place for stuff like this. And then the other place too is very, 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 very good. So please go over them. It will help you more than I can say. That will not allow us to run this meeting indefinitely. So you can go and read deeply. I will leave you with a task. So this task, I just wanted you to use. We have digital tools and we have physical tools. You will pick a digital tool and you will now plan your week with a physical tool. I don't need the details of your day-to-day life, just a summary, high-level summary. That's all I need. Then you pick a digital tool and plan your day with a digital tool. That's all I need. So if you do that, then you go on and make a screenshot of that, then reflect on the challenges you encountered and the lessons you learned. It's a very simple task. So that one. Send it to my email, send to my email. I would have a look at it, and then just for you to get your hands on this thing and kickstart the process so that you can start to engage these techniques and these principles. The takeaway is that time management is a skill set. It's very important, and you can learn it. It's a skill you can acquire. You can improve on it as well. And there are many tips to apply. We've seen them already. So it's not possible to use all these tips and all these techniques. It's not, to be honest with you, few people are making use of all of them. Look for what works for you the best and try to work with those ones. If you're falling behind in any area, you can add one or two more to it to improve your time management principles and improve your overall productivity. The next job you have to do now is to start implementing these tips. We've spent the last 50 minutes plus talking about these tips. If you don't implement these tips, we don't really have anything to talk about because you're not implementing them. But if you start to put them to practice, that's where you get the results. To get the results, put these things into practice. You have your slides, you have your training materials, go over them. You have some those YouTube links, go over them, and then try to practicalize them. Thank you very much for listening to the presentation. So I introduced myself at the beginning of the presentation. My name is Oluwatosin Arinkushola. I'm a PhD. I'm a registered Scrum Master, registered product owner, and a registered project manager as well. So thank you for listening to the presentation. It's time for questions and answers. Yeah. Please, you have the floor.
Okay, sir. Good evening, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. My question is, do you know, me as a person, I don't really keep digital, what's it called? But does that really, because it doesn't still disturb my day-to-day activities though, but does it really matter if I start keeping it or is optional also?
I didn't get the question very well. You don't use digital tools. Is that the question?
Yes, me as a person, I don't really use digital tools for my day-to-day activities like that. You get the point. But the thing is, as a matter of fact, does it really matter, sir?
Yeah, as we said, look at what works for you. At the baseline now, are you achieving all your KPIs? Are you like everything is? If your time management skill is top notch, is working for you, it is fine. But you can get more benefits if you use some of these tools. You get it. But it's not as if there's a rule that says you must use these tools. And then as a techie, in your job, you will use these tools. You can't avoid like Trello, Jira, ClickUp, all those things. We'll use them as a data analyst, as a product manager, you will use those tools. So by practicing them now, you put yourself in a good position, like even Slack, another one, you put yourself in a good position to get into your role. So that is what it's good if you're making good headway with what you're doing now. It's good, but you may be missing the benefit of using those tools, and then the world is revolving. It's good so that the new people that are coming behind you will not say, old man, you don't know what is going on. You get what I mean? Some of these things now are new, but I've taken time to learn them, and we are learning as we are going. Everybody is still learning. My bosses are here; they will tell that they are even still learning. So that is how it works. Thanks for your question. Very useful. Abigail, you have the floor, Abigail.
Oh no, sorry, I don't have a question. It was a mistake. I was trying to tap the like button to encourage you for the class and to say thank you. So I mistakenly raised my hand. Thank you so much for the session.
Thanks so much. I appreciate your compliment. Thank you. I have one more question. Do you have more questions? All right. If you have any other question, I assume that you got all we have shared. The key thing is that try to use these things to your day-to-day life and see how things go on. We want to see you guys engage the internship. I want to see you guys succeed in the internship.
Like Taiwo is raising his hand.
All right, Taiwo, please, you have the floor.
All right, I want to know, sir. You know that one thing about the project manager is time bound.
Time plan.
No.
Sorry, I can't hear you. If you can hear me, you can repeat the question again.
In case one of team member all right, I want to know, in case one of team member were not functioning very well during the courses of project, so how can we replace that person? And we have the time limit for our project. So how can we come up by achieve our aim? So maybe US are not functioning very well, and at the same time, QS they were not replying on time. So how can we solve that issue?
So first of all, I want to say that the QA is here, the UI UX is in this meeting as well. Everybody is there. You are listening. You will not be that person that will not function in the group. I know that there's nobody that doesn't want to function in the group here. But I understand your question very well. I've been there myself, so I know. So if that happens, you will always have a team leader. You have like project directors working with you. You have people supporting you. You're not on your own. At your own level as interns, you might try to like engage the person. You have team leads amongst yourselves. You can engage the person. Are you all right? What's the problem? How can we be of help? You've done that level. It's not working at your own end. you escalate to your team, to your project director. He will step in and see how it helps. And if it doesn't really work, it can escalate higher to the management, and they see how to help, how to have a mind of helping people. Like if there are things stopping them, problems stopping them, see how you can identify the problem and see if you can solve the problem. You will get their attention. They can do what the group wants to do. So in any case, the management is always there to support. So if that happens, just report to your team lead, to your project director. He or she knows what to do. If it's necessary, he or she will escalate to the next level. Thank you so much for the question. Thank you so much this evening for everyone. I really appreciate you. So as I was trying to say, let's engage this project. It's very important. Everybody's here today, but not everybody will scale through this phase. You must have had that before. Some people will drop out. You've heard about the 80-20 principle. 20% of the people doing the greatest contribution and doing the best will make it. I believe that you're part of those people that will make it. Just put in your best, you'll get the best result. At this point, I will hand you over to the CEO. She will have a few other words for you. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I wish you the very best. So stay on the line. The CEO will continue from there.
All right, thank you everybody for attending today's meeting. I hope you guys enjoyed today's live class presentation. All right, see you guys on Tuesday. On Wednesday. Our next live presentation is going to be on Wednesday, and it's going to be communication, either communication or collaboration. I don't know, but I think next week is collaboration and communication. So you're going to be having one of them on Friday and the other one on Wednesday. For your class activities, I'm sure your facilitator has already mentioned that to you, so you guys should go back, go and do your group activities, and please work with your team members. Work with your team members. If you know that you've not figured out what group you are in, go back to your emails and cross check. Ask on the group chat. Let people direct you so that you don't affect the other group team members that you have in your team. So good night, everybody. See you guys on Wednesday. Have a wonderful weekend ahead.